There are quite a few idiot drivers in Perth who just don't understand what keep clear means. One reason why Perth has such a good network of bike paths is because they built them alongside the existing rail corridors. This means they are generally straight and reasonably flat, because trains dislike sharp bends and can't climb steep inclines. The bike paths also serve population and retail centres that are built around the train stations. This is all great. The downside, though, of following railway lines is that cyclists need to negotiate complicated road intersections that are right next to railway level crossings. The state government has started up some very expensive projects to get rid of some of the level crossings, but it's going to take a few years for that work to fix only a small number of the worst crossings. The government was talking about replacing some of these crossings when I lived in Perth over 30 years ago. I'm pretty sure they'll still be talking about it 30 years from now. This work is part of the MetroNet program, which is costing billions and facing major cost overruns. My guess is that the money will run out long before more than a handful of crossings are replaced. That means cyclists will be stuck with having to negotiate road crossings that have vehicles stopped in the middle of them for the next few decades. I've had to do this dozens of times over the last 6 months, but I didn't save most of the footage and only decided last week that it had happened often enough for me to do a video on the topic. Now, before I start ranting, here's a few points to consider. First, these level crossings are everywhere across the Perth metro area, and second, they are all set up the same way. They've also been around for about 100 years. No one living in Perth should be surprised when they come across a level crossing, and they shouldn't be confused about how to behave. This stuff isn't rocket science. I really don't think you can make excuses for people who say, well, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to stop in that area where it says keep clear in 6-foot-high letters on the road, or stop in that yellow hatched area underneath the boom gates right on top of the railway lines. Although I can't really fault this truck driver though, because it's a bit hard to tell if your truck is too long for a particular spot or not. Anyway, if they stopped on the other side of the railway line, you can bet that some car drivers would have driven around them and probably stopped across the intersection anyway. You just can't win. And it's not just level crossings that are a problem. Drivers also block the intersection at certain sets of traffic lights on a regular basis as well. I don't think this should be a surprise to anyone either. This problem used to be absolutely rife in the Sydney CBD, leading to long periods of gridlock during peak hour. The thing that gets me though is that most of the drivers doing this appear to be completely oblivious to what they've done. When I push past them and have a look, they look surprised that they're blocking a crossing and getting in someone's way. What worries me most is that they are clearly failing to pay any attention to their surroundings and aren't seeing the road markings that are there to keep everyone safe. There are times when I can't wait for autonomous vehicles to take over. In the meantime, cyclists need to keep their ears and eyes open and be prepared to occasionally negotiate their way around an idiot stopped in the middle of an intersection.